Good morning. I am back. We're going to do another video. I was thinking that we have pretty much beat to death the whole advance directive and medical power of attorney and that business, pretty much beat it to death. So I want to talk about other things. In fact, my plan today was to start peeling back the curtains on how physicians think about certain things and start talking about other stuff. But before we do that, it occurred to me that I need to talk about this particular topic first today, and that's Medicare and other financial matters around financial planning and end-of-life care. And I need to talk about that because I don't think it's things people know or understand, especially not people in their 40s and 50s. Maybe people start to understand it more as they approach the age of enrolling in Medicare. A little background on this. So my national meeting for the American Geriatric Society just happened last month, and it was all virtual. So I am very slowly working through all of the videos and lectures that I could have participated in, but didn't get to for various, because you can only do one thing at a time. So I was able to go back and do multiple other videos. And one of the last videos I watched yesterday was about care for immigrants and refugees, but it had a whole lot of information about Medicare and financial planning at the end of life, and I took tons of notes. So I thought we'd go over that today. So laying groundwork. The idea of Medicare was something that came out in the post-World War II era. It was to provide medical care for people towards the end of life, and it was designed to start at the age of 55 or 60 at the time, and then as our population has gotten healthier and aged longer, it's been moved out. So now people enroll in Medicare at the age of 65. And basically, Medicare is socialized medicine. Nobody wants to admit it. We don't have socialized medicine in this country, but actually we do. It's called Medicare. Socialized medicine also exists for the people getting military care. And the concept of socialized medicine is you've paid into this system and then you get the benefits for free or at a reduced cost. So that's Medicare. There are particular parts of Medicare. There is Medicare A, there's Medicare B, and there's Medicare D. So starting with D and working backwards, Medicare D is the prescription benefit. There is a certain amount of money a person gets every year from Medicare D to pay for prescriptions. Once you have used up that money, then you're said to be in the donut hole where you have to pay for your own prescriptions until the next fiscal year to renew your Medicare D and to start getting those benefits again for free. And that's where a lot of people get into trouble, because if you have multiple medications that are newer, not generic, not on the Walmart $4 list, you're paying a lot of money for your prescriptions after you fall into the donut hole. Okay. And you have to enroll for that. Medicare B is coverage that is for everything outside of the hospital. Medicare A is basically acute care, meaning if you go into the hospital, Medicare A pays for your hospital stay, whereas Medicare B pays for other things such as walkers, rollators. Those are called durable medical equipment that pays for the home health benefit that people get maybe after they've discharged from the hospital and they still need some home PT or whatever. Medicare B also pays for home PT. Medicare B also pays for hospice care. This is where it gets tricky. Most people here in the United States who have grown up here automatically qualify for Medicare Part A. You have to at least have documented 10 years work experience for Medicare A. Therefore, people who have immigrated to the United States who have not gotten paid so that they have a paycheck where taxes are coming out of that check and therefore have documented work experience, they won't cover for or qualify for Medicare A. So anybody who is a cash employee and paid under the table will not qualify for Medicare A if they're not having those taxes withheld. And that's an easy thing for a lot of people to decide to do, especially when they're young, not realizing how it will impact them when they're 65. if you work for 10 years or don't work for 10 years and you enroll in Medicare A, say you work for 5 years, then you have to pay a premium for Medicare A. And according to this presentation I saw, the premium in 2019 was $437 a month. For somebody who has 65 or 70 years a month, almost $500 a month to have health insurance, maybe with a lot of health problems, that's a lot of money. All right. In order to purchase Medicare A, you also have to enroll in Medicare B. However, it is possible to enroll in Medicare B but not have A. You can enroll in Medicare D if you have either part. Okay? The trick is, if you don't apply for Medicare when you're first eligible at 65, you will be paying penalties and premiums for Medicare, the Medicare you do finally enroll for the rest of your life. So for whatever reason, something happens and somebody doesn't enroll in Medicare properly when they're 65, and suddenly they realize it 6 months later or a year later, there will be back penalties they'll have to pay, and that will be forever, which will mean, maybe at 60 or 65, it will just be a small increase in their premiums, but those add up over time. If you wait longer than 65, maybe you don't enroll till you're 70, you would have to pay those 5 years of penalties for the rest of your life. Again, that makes your premiums much higher. In this particular presentation I was listening to, the presenter started with a case, and it was a 70-year-old fellow, maybe 75-year-old fellow, I can't remember, who had started with Medicare A and B, and then for whatever reason had allowed Medicare B coverage to lapse. Didn't get Medicare D at the time because he didn't take any medicines when he was 65, but now he's aged and has started to need medicines, and so he'd let Medicare B lapse and never had Medicare D, and so he finds that in order to enroll in Medicare B, he has to pay all of the back fees that he would have repaid had he stayed enrolled in Medicare D or Medicare B, and he has to pay a higher premium to have Medicare D. It's a complete racket. So my takeaway from all of that was, when I turn 65, I have to make sure I enroll in Medicare A, B, and D all at the same time, and then just suck it up and pay my premiums, because I don't want to have to pay those penalties later. The next subject to talk about is a durable power of attorney for finances. We've talked about the medical power of attorney. That's the person that steps in to make medical decisions when I can't make them for myself. Well, it turns out that a durable power of attorney for finance is also important, whether or not you have any income to protect. And here's why. Again, this particular presentation was talking about for immigrant care, but this is something that's important across the board. Everybody needs a durable power of attorney for finances, and it should be one that's called springing, meaning that it springs into effect once a person lacks capacity. And so that capacity determination would be a letter written by a physician to put with that paperwork to show to whatever entity that medical power of attorney is going to be used for. So the durable power of attorney. See, I'm still thinking about medicine. So this durable power of attorney for finances isn't just used to do banking stuff, but it's also used when somebody needs to, say, renew their lease on their apartment or sign Medicare documents to maintain coverage for something going on there. It has to be used for somebody who needs to renew insurances. It has to be used for things like loans, stuff that's not necessarily always tied to money, but a financial power of attorney is needed for that. Here's the problem. If someone becomes sick and has no capacity for making their own financial decisions or medical decisions, if they do not have a financial power of attorney, then the caregiver or whoever the person is wanting to take care of this person will have to go to court and file a request in court for guardianship. And that process can take anywhere from 3 months to a year, which means whatever the financial thing was or business thing was that was initiating this concern is probably already played out, and a house is lost or whatever. The other thing is, if a person has set up a durable power of attorney for finances, they also have the option of setting up a trust. And a trust is important for this key reason. A trust is going, if executed properly, a trust can put the home and assets of the older individual into that trust so that they are now protected from the state. And why would you want to protect your assets from the state? Well, many people who need to go into a nursing home generally have someone else at home that needs to live in that house. So if you don't have incredible amounts of money to pay for your nursing home care, most people end up using Medicaid to help pay for their nursing home care. In order to qualify for Medicaid, a person has to have very minimal assets, which means they would have to sell their house, sell their car, liquidate bank accounts, basically on paper be indigent. So if you have a trust set up years in advance, and it has to be 5 to 7 years before this actually is helpful, you put all of those assets into the trust, you're paid for your bills and needs for living out of that trust, and then if it comes to the point where you need nursing home care, your loved one who still lives at home is still protected, still can live in the house, and you can get the Medicaid support to be in the nursing home. The state does check that, and so if this trust hasn't been set up, 5 to 7 years prior to that need, if you go and you recognize someone's declining and you get that trust set up and that durable power of attorney set up 2-3 years before that nursing home care is needed, the trust will come back and take, or the state will come back and take everything out of that trust and claim it. But if it was done 5 to 7 years previous, now it's protected and the state can't do that. So, big takeaways here. When a person is 65, you need to sign up for Medicare A, B, and D to have the least amount of premiums possible to pay. Secondly, you need to set up a durable power of attorney for finances to cover all of the needs, banking and legal stuff that has to happen after somebody becomes lacks capacity. Lastly and thirdly, it is advisable to put all your assets into a trust around the age 60 or so that if sometime in the future you need nursing home care, all of your assets are protected and you can get the care you need in the nursing home while your loved ones are still able to live in the home. I hope that helps. I hope that kind of opens up some thought processes and maybe some conversations. These are not things people like to do or think about, but they're really important if you want to protect your assets and protect your loved ones as a person ages. So let me know if there's any other questions or concerns you have. Next videos, we're going to start peeling back the curtain and talking about how doctors think. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.